Okay.
Ken, I want to think about this in the context, in answer when we get to your, but just kind of go over your name, where you're from, and just how you were. I don't want to necessarily use the word past tense in it, but just talk about the type of operation that you had there.
Okay.
Just say I have been involved.
Yeah.
Let's use that phrase. I have been involved in.
In ranching first. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that'll cover it, and we don't have to worry about. No, you don't have cows today.
Okay.
That'll work. So name, where you're from, and just I've been involved in.
Okay.
And a little bit about what that looked like.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Ken Lyon. I live down at just south of Tyler, and around Bullard, Texas, and been involved in ranching, raising Brangus, commercial Brangus, for about 20 years. Started using CattleMax early on. I was one of their first 200 customers. I'd heard about it at a beef short course, or beef 420, I think it's called, not the short course. But I was looking for software, and I'd just retired from a long data processing career, and so I was wanting something to run manage my herd with. And I'd heard about CattleMax, and then went to the short course later on, and I saw them and got to meet Terrell and Penny, see the product. I recognized the quality of it, and I bought it, and that's back when we had the desktop version. So after I did finally retire from data processing completely, I thought the only place I'd ever go to work would be CattleMax, and that's because of the quality of it. And I thought, I want to be involved with that. I'd like to be involved with it. And I thought that perhaps there would be a place sometime. And sure enough, we did. They issued a request for people, and I think it said that I was the first resume that they got, and they interviewed me, and later on, and they hired me. Been working with them ever since, and in my 12th year now, full-time support. So
We'll go back into it. What drew you into ranching? Why did you get into ranching?
Well, I've always loved being around cattle. I've loved ranching. When I was a kid, I lived on a dairy, and didn't particularly want to do that anymore. But I got found a nice piece of land one time, and had a 5-acre pond on it, and it was back behind the trees. You couldn't see it from the road, and I thought, it's kind of like a dream that I'd had. So I bought that and put a barn on it, put a house on it, started buying cattle, and wasn't real sure of what kind of cattle, but talked with a lot of locals and found out the Brangus was good for my area. It's up around Yanis, Texas, near Lake Fork. And they're heat tolerant, and they're pretty sturdy animals. They can take care of themselves. So that's the reason I got into Brangus, and I just stayed with them all along.
So, when you had cattle, why did you raise cattle?
Why? That's a good question. It just feels good. I like having cattle. I like being called a rancher. I like, I tell people I've got some magical qualities. I can turn grass into meat, and I like just everything about it.
Is that background behind me? Okay. Danny, the background noise right there on the porch is coming through. They can ease out. Is there trouble there?
Just having too much fun. Yeah, I like the equipment. I like having tractors. Just getting out there working with the land. fighting weeds, making good pastures, seeing those calves grow up strong and healthy, and I like making a little bit of money off of them. So
What did you use for record keeping for CattleMax?
I tried some spreadsheets, Excel spreadsheets that I figured, being an old data processor, I could probably do something like that myself. But it worked okay for like the first level, but you have first generation, I should say. But you get down, they start having calves, and pretty soon you're entering things multiple times, and then you get down to third generation, and all your time is spent, and it's not accurate, and you can't get good reports. And when I saw CattleMax, you could enter something one time, and it's spread to wherever it needs to be. So there's not a lot of repetition. And it ties the cow-calf relationships, the bull-calf relationships. When I sell calves, I can tell them everything about the calf from the time it was conceived to when it was born, how much it weighed, the weaning weight, yearling weight, how much I sold it for. I can give them all the paperwork and all the shots, everything that's happened to them in their entire life. And people like seeing that.
So what's your favorite feature of CattleMax?
Oh gosh. That's too generic almost. I think my favorite feature is it being cloud-based, because I can access it from any device and anytime and anywhere. And a couple of years ago, I was flying to Australia, and we were getting ready to cross the international date line and the equator about the same time. And I was on that flight, and we had internet access. And I broke out my iPhone and started doing some ranch work. And I thought it's pretty cool. Here I'm 7 miles in the air, 7,000 miles from home, and flying 800 miles an hour, and able to keep up with my cattle work.
Kind of touched on this before, but kind of I want to go back over it. What made you to want to be a part of the CattleMax team, and why have you stayed on board for 12 years?
Well, I wanted to be part of it, like I said, because just the quality of it. And I knew it was going to really do well. And I wanted to be a part of that success story. And the reason I stayed on for so long is I just enjoy it too much to quit. You know, I really enjoy helping the people. I enjoy meeting the ranchers. I like the quick interchanges we have. They'll call, and I can usually resolve a problem in just 2 or 3 minutes usually. And occasionally it'll go at half an hour or an hour, but I give them as much time as they need to get the problem resolved. It's just, I just enjoy it. So.
Good. Well, we've got what we need.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Ken.
Good deal.